This is Jarvis Butts, and he is currently on trial for the murder of 13-year-old Josiah Harris. And if you have any personal experience with child assault, then this is going to be a trigger warning for you. This is 13-year-old Josiah Harris, and the sexual abuse against her from Jarvis began when she was 11 years old in 2022. This is not the first time that Jarvis has assaulted a child. In fact, in 2005, he was arrested and convicted of an illegal relationship with a 15-year-old. So it's pretty shocking that Jarvis was able to get into a relationship with Naziah's aunt, Sharon Harris, and then move into the household with them. Much of this abuse, the family says they have absolutely no idea what was going on, even though in the preliminary trial that's been going on over the last 2 weeks, Naziah's cousins say that he would come into their bedroom at night and he would try to coerce Naziah into agreeing to have sexual relations with him. On the day that Naziah went missing, January 9th, 2024, Jarvis was actually supposed to turn himself into the police due to an unrelated gun charge, but it got pushed back, and that gave him the time to enact his plot to deal with the fact that Naziah was pregnant with his child. On January 9th, Naziah got off the school bus at Cornwall Street and 3 Mile Drive, which is the nearest intersection to Warren Avenue and Outer Drive on Detroit's East Side. She was never seen again after she got off that bus. Now, what we've learned since is that what happened during the next 24 hours is that Jarvis took Naziah to his job. He worked as a mechanic and he picked up a car at the job. One of his fellow employees, a woman, testified this week that she saw Naziah with him and even asked him, "Who's that girl?" And he said it was his girlfriend's niece. GPS records show that afterward, their phones pinged near a hotel that Jarvis was known to frequent with some of the women who he was cheating on with Sharon Harris. January 10th, 2024, Detroit Public School Community District launched an investigation after Annette Harris, Naziah's grandmother, and Sharon Harris said that she hadn't come home. One of the other teachers at Naziah's school, Derek Wolf, brought in the police and reported her as a missing person. For the next month, the search for Naziah pulled up absolutely nothing, and they pretty much hit a dead end. And on February 14th, 2024, they decided that they were just going to start canvassing the area and just looking for any information. On February 15th, Detective Jason Mays and his partner interviewed Jarvis Butts in connection to this case. Butts claimed that he was dealing with a legal issue the day that Naziah went missing. He also told Mays and Johnson that Naziah is related to one of his daughters who would occasionally come to his auto shop and work with his daughter. On March 6th, police began searching a pond near the intersection of Quinn Road in Clinton Township, hoping to potentially find her remains because people thought at this point there was no way that she was still alive. On March 7th, a woman called the police saying that she found Naziah's school ID. She said she stepped over it a few times over the past 2 weeks, but she finally decided to pick the card up, and there she saw it was the missing girl. Now, the card was face down, so she didn't see it was Naziah and just walk over it. She just thought it was a piece of trash on the ground. On March 12th, her family reported to the local 4 News Network that they were holding out hope that they might still find her, but at this point there had been over a dozen community searches to find her. Authorities searched the area of 7 Mile and Berg near the river, and that's where they found pink overalls, a black hoodie, and headphones in her pocket, as well as one of her shoes. This was the outfit that Naziah was wearing the day she went missing. Now, for the next several months, there's nothing public, but the police are working their odds, and they found out a lot of information about Jarvis Butts. Not the first time he's been involved with a child, and not the first time he has been implicated in sexual assault related to a kid. In fact, the DA has referred to him as a habitual 4-time offender, and locals within the community have said that Jarvis was known to cozy up to single mothers who had young daughters, specifically to creep on the little girls. Finally, in August of 2024, August 15th, police submitted a warrant for the arrest of Jarvis Butts. On September 26, 2024, Wayne County prosecutor Kim Worthy announced that Jarvis was charged in connection to her disappearance. Authorities announced that the case would be treated as a homicide, even though they had not recovered Josiah's remains. 1 day later, he was arraigned for multiple charges in regards to Neziah's murder, including her sexual assault. The preliminary examination of Jarvis Butts began on November 1st, 2024. It not only focused on Josiah's case, but there are also two other victims that were also there, a 13-year-old and a 20-year-old who were assaulted prior to Josiah. The January 6th case is the one that's going on right now, and that is another preliminary case. Dozens of witnesses have testified so far, and more are testifying every day. During this investigation, it has also come out that he has assaulted two other members of the Harris family. That is an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old who was given chlamydia. This week, also what happened in trial is that they read through all of the explicit text messages that had been going on between Josiah and Jarvis for 2 years. It's a lot. What we do know is that Jarvis was fully aware that Neziah was pregnant, and his Google searches showed that he had been trying to find a way to do an at-home abortion. It is currently presumed that he tried to give Josiah that abortion at the hotel, and more than likely that's where she died, and then rather than report it to the police, he decided to dispose of her remains. That is just an idea. It has not been proven yet. Only time will tell if Jarvis will just give up the ghost and just admit guilt to try and get a lighter sentence, because he's already been implicated in 5 additional assaults against young girls. He's actually been charged with first-degree premeditated murder, child sexually abusive material, second-degree criminal sexual conduct with persons under 13 years old. The next stage in this trial happens on March 7th. At 9 a.m., there will be a conference between the legal teams, and this is an opportunity for both teams to discuss trial logistics, including motion hearing and motion filing dates. Judge Aaliyah Sabri said, "She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like. I pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls, and possibly boys, who have come into contact with you." Josiah's family is not off the hook because her grandmother and aunt have been investigated, and there's a question about whether they knew about the abuse before her disappearance. As this is a murder trial, Jarvis would be up for life in prison since Michigan does not have the death penalty.